The call for unity launched by Chiara Lubich, founder of the Movimento dei Focolari, arrives in Jerusalem. The Custody of the Holy Land hosts the readapted exhibition dedicated to the centenary of her birth in Trento, Italy. The mini choir of Rovereto, northern Italy, performed in Bethlehem, together with the children's choir of the city, singing songs of peace, joy and hope. 250,000 photographs to ensure a future for the more than 1,000 ancient books kept in the General Library of the Custody of the Holy Land in Jerusalem. In these weeks, a long work of digitization that lasted 4 years is coming to an end. Between the steps of the dabke, a typical Oriental dance, and the crackling sound of Spanish dance, the contemporary dance company Duban was the protagonist in the Palace of Culture in Ramallah of some performances in which the past mixes with the reality of today. After the emergency measures taken by the Palestinian Ministry of Health to counter the spread of the coronavirus, the Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem has published some guidelines valid for all parishes and churches in the area of Bethlehem and Jericho. A multitude arrives every day in the Holy Land, a mystical place where the grace of revelation is experienced. The Word of God became flesh and came to dwell among us. Galilee, the site of the good news of the Gospel. Capernaum, his town. 50 sanctuaries to preserve the memory and update the history of the redemption. The custody, through the collection on Good Friday, preserves the places of salvation, supports the Christian presence and the living stones. The call for unity, launched by Chiara Lubich, foundress of the Movimento dei Focolari, reaches as far as the city that most of all embodies the encounter between different peoples, cultures and religions. In Jerusalem, the Custody of the Holy Land hosts the readapted exhibition dedicated to the centenary of its birth, which is set in Trento, Italy, curated by the Chiara Lubich Center in collaboration with the Fondazione Museo Storico del Trentino. An exhibition that has an area of about 200 square meters. The original exhibition, the one in Trento, is about 1,000 square meters. We, as the technical office, added as a bridge between the custody, which hosted the exhibition, and the curators in Italy.
La mostra e I curatori in Italia.
A reference to Chiara Lubich's spirituality is the passage from the Gospel of John, in which Jesus prays to the Father that all may be one. A message also addressed to people who do not have a religious belief, addressed to the different types of visitors who will participate in the exhibition, which is open for 2 weeks.
I want to bring Jewish people because I want them to know that such things exist. Usually the media is all about conflicts and how people are antagonistic. It's so reassuring, it's so reviving to see that there is collaboration, that there are people that do things courageously and without being naive, okay? Being very realistic. We live in a conflicted place, and still with this conflict, we must recognize each other, find the common paths to cooperate.
Divided into 4 parts between images and video material, the exhibition Chiara Lubich World City also reveals the connection that Chiara Lubich had with the Holy Land, despite having visited it only once in 1956. The Movimento dei Focolari has been spreading here since the 1970s. Throughout my life, I had the opportunity to meet and greet Chiara Lubich very briefly during one of her visits to Trento. I am happy that the Custody of the Holy Land can host this exhibition, and I am even happier that she reminds both a time like ours and a land like ours of the value of unity.
Come il nostro e a una terra come la nostra il valore dell'unità.
Legato a quella visita di Chiara del 56 c'è anche
Linked to Chiara's visit in 1956, there is also the idea of having a physical place in Jerusalem that would testify that unity is possible. With time, this intuition became clearer in the project of an International Center for Unity and Peace. It is a project that we are carrying out and that we hope to be able to realize soon. If there is a place where it makes sense to be a presence of unity, it is Jerusalem.
Essere una presenza di unità è proprio a Gerusalemme.
È stata un'esperienza indimenticabile e è stato bellissimo cantare anche con un coro di fuori dall'Europa e di un'altra lingua.
Con chi avete cantato?
Con il coro di Betlemme.
Siete contenti di essere qui a Betlemme?
Sì, molto.
Cos'è la pace per te?
Per me la pace è una cosa che tutti devono rispettare e secondo me le persone non dovrebbero andare avanti con le guerre, con tutte le cose brutte, ma dovrebbero rispettare tutte le regole della pace.
Come sei brava! Bravissima! Che bella!
Per loro era un sogno. Avete visto i bambini?
For them it was a dream. You saw how happy the children were. You saw this little girl, how she talked about her journey here, about peace. And it was important for us too at this time, when the people of Bethlehem are going through a very difficult time, to have the Rovereto choir here. It gives us a lot of courage and hope.
Coraggio, una grande speranza.
When looking for a way through which different cultures can dialogue with each other, the music immediately appears as a universal language, food for the soul and a source of hope and peace. In the Church of St. Catherine in Bethlehem, the mini choir of the Italian city of Rovereto, together with the Children's Choir of Bethlehem, sang songs of joy and peace.
Quando l'abbiamo cantata qui a Betlemme, che è terra.
When we sang here in Bethlehem, which is a land of peace but also a complicated land, it was a great joy for me. I got excited and even cried, because in my opinion singing here is something that gets into your heart and never goes away. It was important for us to be here as witnesses of peace, but also to come home bringing the peace of this land, the peace that is in the hearts of the people who live here.
La pace che c'è nei cuori delle persone che abitano qui.
It was a great experience to be able to bring what we are lucky enough to have, and that not every child in the world can have. Singing about peace is so beautiful.
The meeting was organized by the male branch of the Holy Land School and the John Paul II Foundation, an event that turned the dream of the mini choir of Rovereto into reality, to sing in one of the holiest places in the world, where peace was born for all humanity. Bethlehem was a dream for us, a dream that came true. And it is also a dream to have been able to sing with the children here. We sang Star in Bethlehem, a wonderful song, a song that invites us to serenity, peace, joy. I take the opportunity to invite these children. I don't know when it will happen, but it will be a great honor and a great joy to be able to host them in our wonderful city. The echo of the joy of the angels, who not far from here sang Glory to God on Christmas night, resounds in the voices of these children, who in different languages continue to share it to all who listen to them. "250,000 is the number of photographs that are needed not so much to remember the past with nostalgia, but rather to ensure a future for the books kept on these increasingly technological shelves. These are the more than 1,000 ancient volumes that can be found in the General Library of the Custody of the Holy Land in Jerusalem.
Here are some of our ancient books and codices, manuscripts that we are planning also to digitalize because of the poor state of condition that they are in, and it is necessary to conserve them before they totally are destroyed by time and use.
Digitization is the key word, and the task entrusted to a team of experts, including photographers and curator from Poland. In the last few weeks, the team has been completing a 4-year project.
We just basically move page by page, and then we just simply flip the book, and photograph the next side. And then the photographer needs to see every picture and sort of merge them together into one full book. Of course, not every book is so easy to photograph as this one, and you have seen the other manuscripts, they are larger, so then we have to move down and zoom out. So he explains what should I do with the book, how to move it so that it's visible. So like left, right? No, okay, not this side. Because the photographer sees everything. I don't see anything.
The material must be handled with care. The fragile pages must be turned with care. The Franciscan friars have collected here books dating back to the 12th century, either handwritten or produced with a technique of mobile printing.
Different kind of text, historical, theological, religious poetry. We have the description of the pilgrimage, traveling, documents, everything. They are written in 18 languages, Oriental and European, for instance Arabic, Ethiopic, Armenian, Turkish, Coptic, what more, and European languages at the first place, Latin, Greek, Italian of course, and even French, English, German, and so on and so on. They are decorated, they are old, and they should be protected, but at the same time they should be shown and accessible.
From anywhere in the world, it will take just a click to venture through the virtual pages of these books. For the moment, thanks to the servers of the British Library, partner of the project, although the property and related rights will remain with the custody of the Holy Land.
The treasures of the custody will now be open to everyone who can consult them online.
Between the steps of the dabke, a typical Oriental dance, and the bursting sound of Spanish dance, the contemporary dance company Duban was the protagonist on February 28th in the Palace of Culture of Ramallah of some performances in which the past blends with the reality of today. Through the dance steps, the group wanted to present the different ethnic groups and cultures that lived in Jerusalem: Gypsies, Moroccans, Egyptians, Armenians, and Africans.
From here we begin, from Jerusalem. We tell the story of all its neighborhoods, the story of all the ethnic groups who came here and who have become an integral part of the city. We talk, for example, about the Gypsies who lived in the neighborhood and the African community. We talk about the Armenian community, which arrived in Jerusalem after the massacres in Turkey, even though the Armenians have a long history in the Holy Land. We talk about the Egyptian Copts. In fact, my great-grandfather is a Coptic from Upper Egypt, and here I am today, in Jerusalem.
Safal is a name derived from the first letter of the 3 Arabic words prayer, cross, and crescent moon. It is the name that the Duban company gave to the artistic performance presented in Ramallah. It is the result of a joint work which involved more than 100 artists from all over the world, all gathered in the name of humanity. This performance wants to show how people look at each other, regardless of their religion, color, ethnicity, and origin. The main message focuses on the love, affection and mercy we have for each other. There is only one God who always puts us together under his roof.
Tolerance, tolerance, tolerance. Accept the other with all his differences. We must fight to live in peace. Peace must be fair and reliable for all, and it has to bring together all people and all the ethnic groups.
Salal confronts the viewers with the reality in which the inhabitants of Jerusalem live and the restrictions that exist.
In the conditions in which we live today, we must unite without competition, regardless of ethnicity, religion, or community. If we are not together, we will not resist. And the many aspects of Jerusalem will not resist either.
Through the dance steps, the Duban company asks for a change in human behavior, to live in equality, love, and peace. Emergency measures to counter the spread of the coronavirus also reach the Holy Land. The Palestinian Ministry of Health has decreed for the area of Bethlehem and Jericho the closure of schools and universities for 14 days, banned public events, including celebrations with crowds of people in churches and mosques, and closed access to hotels for tourist groups. With a sense of responsibility, we must collaborate with the authorities and those in charge of public health for the good of all, explained the Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, Bishop Pierbattista Pizzaballa. The guidelines are clear and valid for all parishes, churches and religious houses in the territory of Bethlehem, Beit Jala, Beit Sahor and Jericho. The churches remain open only for individual prayer, and this provision is also valid for Sunday. Masses may be celebrated with less than 15 people participating, and only on the condition that they can keep at least 1 meter apart from each other. Communion is to be received only on the hand. It should be avoided to give the sign of peace with the hands. Holy water will be removed at the entrance of the churches. All ecclesial and pastoral activities are cancelled. I invite everyone, concluded Monsignor Pizzaballa, to a sense of responsibility and unity. The custody of the Holy Land will give the faithful the opportunity to follow the Holy Mass in live streaming from the Basilica of the Annunciation in Nazareth through the channels of the Christian Media Center at www.cmc-terrasanta.org.